Bass players, it's that time again, and you know I had to do this one. This is for any bass player who's looking to improve your feel on some of this more soulful stuff, and you're looking to play something that feels a little different from the gospel stuff that we've been doing. This is just for you. Now, if you've checked out any of my other Bass Jam packs, you know exactly how this goes. There are 6 tracks included in this pack. There's a part A and a part B to each track. And also with the track, I'm going to include the sheet music and tab for those of you who need this music. Maybe this is not so common to you as it is for some people, so that's no problem. I'm including the sheet music and the tab just for you. Also, you're going to get 2 MP3s. One will include my bass take, what I actually played over it, and then you'll get one without my bass take so you can do your thing and rock out and have fun to it. And not only that, like I've done on every other jam pack, if you are a person who needs the additional help in terms of breaking down these tracks, because it might be a little complicated for you depending on where you are in your level as a musician, as a new bass player, I've also included the instructional for this where I go through and break down all 6 tracks. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that I'm playing. I'm going to show you the progression. I'm going to show you how to play all these little crazy lines that we're doing throughout the song. So you have no excuse but to go in there and do what you got to do when it comes to practicing. So if you're ready to learn and play some heavy bass grooves, check out the All Soul Bass Jam. I'll see you on the inside. Peace. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Hope everybody is well this morning. Everybody that seen the notification and decided to jump on and join me, good morning to you all. It's been a minute, but I hope everybody is well. Bernard, good morning to you. Good morning to you. So I was available today, so I decided to jump on really quick and do a quick grooves and motivation talk with you guys. I don't have much of a groove. I was playing around with this little idea. I'm still working my way through this new pedal that I have. I've been using a Beat Buddy by I forgot that quick. Singular Sound. Been using the Beat Buddy by them, and I'm also using this Eros, and I'm still learning my way through the Eros. I'm going to do a video about that soon. And don't worry, this is not a video about that, but I'm just making mention of it. So if you hear me stumbling today trying to get my loops and stuff together, I'm still working, learning the pedal and how it syncs up with the Beat Buddy. So yeah, that's what that's about. So let's see here. Floppy, what's up, man? Good to hear from you. Loic, good morning to you. Madagascar is in the building. Brandon, what's up, man? Long time, Brandon. Jay, what's up, man? And Kenya is in the building. So y'all are up. Y'all are up this morning. So all good, all good. So let's see what we got here. Did I unplug? Oh, there. I got it muted. There we go. All right. And so who else we got here? All right. So again, I was just kind of playing around with this little bossa nova loop that I had on this thing here. Let's see. Floppy says, was only thinking this morning, man, it's Tuesday. I do miss seeing Jermaine's Grooves and Motivation. And here you are. Yeah, I'm here. I've been a little under the weather. Not nothing too severe, but yeah, I'm here this morning. Andre says, good morning, bro. Man, long time no see. Glad you're here. Good stuff, man. I've been reading the comments from several people on some of the other videos that I've been posting. But man, we really missed the Grooves and Motivation. So I told you guys, as I can, I will jump on in the group, do Grooves and Motivation, but I won't be able to do it as consistently as I used to. But again, every now and again, I'll pop in, I'll do a video, maybe live. Most of what you might see will be, the pre-recorded video, but it'll still be quality content. I can try to guarantee you that. Excuse me. Getting the last little remnants of this coal out. So Ceylon, India is in the building. Let's play with this a little while. I'm still learning this looper pedal. There we go. What's up, T? I messed that up, so I'm still figuring this thing out. Try it again. It's fun though, working through this stuff. I like doing it real time because it put me on blast, you know. All right, let's try it again. Floppy said drum solo. Yeah, man. There we go. So you got to control everything with your feet with this the Beat Buddy. It's cool, but you got to get your coordination together. It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. that. Enough of that. All right, let's get through a few of these comments, guys. Yeah, you hear me kind of work the dust off of these fingers. I've been practicing, but not as much as I would like to. See who I missed here. If you're still here, Floppy says, love that tone, perfect solo. Really cuts through, man. Thank you so much. Jay Peely, what's up, man? Derek, good morning to you, man. Nice groove. Appreciate that. Burton Van Esland, if I'm saying that correctly. Hi, Jermaine. Always nice to listen to you, man. And thanks for the motivation and musicians. We need it in these times, man. Thank you for always cheering us up. Man, my pleasure. To God be the glory, man. Thank you. So long. Oh, loving the solo. Appreciate that. Floyd, what's up, man? Good to see you. Andres is really funky. Yeah. Wash hands, wash hands. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Floppy says, do you find that when you solo, you have a specific pattern that you start with before moving on to other things? I honestly, I don't think about it. I think I do more thinking about I do more thinking about the actual solo and what I'm playing when I'm writing music. I'm like writing a piece, but in the midst of like something like this, I try to do as less thinking as possible. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it helps me to not overthink, not overstress, that type of thing. So I find it, for me personally, I try not to think when I'm in the midst of, coming up with ideas and that kind of thing. Where's Sade at? I'm not sure who's Sade. Like, what? I guess you're referring to one of my bases. So I'm not sure which one you're referring to. All right. So, never mind. I'm slow. I got it. I got what you said. The song, the artist Sade. My bad. I'm slow. All right. So, know yourself. What's up, Steven? What's up, Steven, man? Good to be seen. Good to be seen and not viewed. Right, in these day and times. So I wanted to say really, really quick. Just wanted to share a quick thought with you guys. I'll try not to be too long or too deep, but y'all know how that normally goes. If you've been here for a while, if you're new to this channel, let me not forget to do this because I realize that there are new people who show up for these live talks all the time, looking at the analytics. So if you're new to this channel by some chance, I'm Jermaine Morgan, and producer, musician. Most known as a bass player, but we play multiple instruments and produce music. That's really where most of my time, the bulk of my time being these days, is working on production, music production, and amongst other things. So anyway, just wanted to introduce, if you're not subscribed to the channel, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on my bell notification. Looks like we're on our way to about 45,000 strong. So that's really exciting. And thank you for the new subscribers who have subscribed to this channel. I really, really appreciate it. The thought I wanted to share with you all this morning, it was a movie that I watched with my family. Mother's Day, we was doing the chilling thing. And I was watching this. It's like a Christian movie or something like that we just happened. It was just a nice little family movie that we were watching. It was about this guy who was an actor. And, he went through a rough patch and stuff in his life. Anyway, long story short, he was talking to this group of people who were trying to do this stage play, this type of thing. And I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what he said when he, when he spoke to them about acting. He was like, acting isn't about who's the best or who's this, who's that. It's just simply, again, I'm paraphrasing. It's just simply putting your whole self into the character. Putting your whole self into it. Of course, you want to fully embody this character and make sure that you give a good presentation of what this character is about and tell the story through this character. But it's about you putting your whole self, who you are, into this character. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And it came back to me as I was trying to think about something to share with you guys this morning. And I was like, you know what? Put your whole self in. That's not a bad thought. When it comes to music, because I think of it in the sense of, it's almost a bad analogy, but you'll get what I'm saying if you are a musician. When we learn songs, when we learn to play this music, we're generally learning music that someone else has played. Most of the time, this is not our original thought of the music, unless it's unless it's your own original music. And so that with that thought in mind, it's like you want to put your whole self into the music. Good morning, Tiffany. Excuse me, guys. I wasn't gonna go live this morning because I still had this little remnants of this cold just lingering around. Sorry, but yeah, you want to put your whole self into the music. And a thought that comes to mind with me, I was learning. Sorry, excuse me. I was learning some of my own music, getting prepared for like clinics and that type of thing. Sorry, guys. You dealt with it. You already know what it is. Any of you human beings that have had a cold before, you know how that can kind of mess with your throat and your speaking and everything. But I was learning some of my own music, and I found myself being really mechanical. And I had to stop, and I was like, dude, like, you just kind of playing through this stuff. You're just playing the notes. And it's not so much that you're putting your full self into the music. You're just literally learning the notes to play the notes verbatim. And it's like an autopilot that I kind of do when I'm learning music. I'm kind of learning songs. You're so focused on, even when it's your own music, you're so focused on trying to play the right notes at times that you forget to be you in actually playing the music. You forget to let your personality, everything who you are about you, come through. Good morning, Marcus. So one of the things I wanted to do, again, just to remind you guys, because like I said, I had to pull myself to the side, in essence, while I was learning the music. And I think it's important while you're learning, because I think when I'm on stage or when I'm, playing with or for someone, it's easier to kind of tap in and sometimes do it then. But if you're not careful, you can find yourself in a really intense moment. You can find yourself being an autopilot and just simply playing notes rather than just putting your whole self into the music, really expressing. It's like the idea of watching somebody on a stage play, and you know that they're just reciting lines. It's like there's no emotion, there's no feeling. They're not telling a story. It's just, okay, this part is next. You're saying this part. All right, now this part comes next. You're saying this part. And I see musicians that do that all the time, and it comes across really, really clear in the music. As a matter of fact, I was producing this group not too long ago, and I was telling the lead singers when it came to time for them to lead their song, I was like, yeah, what does that verse mean to you? They were singing this particular verse that was really, personal. Granted, the songwriter wrote this verse and it was personal to the songwriter. So they're singing this particular verse, and I was like, what does that verse mean to you? And then they stopped, and explained to me, well, I think it's saying X, Y, and Z, and to me it means all these things. And when that person told me about what the verse meant to them, it had so much passion to it. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, okay. When you said that, I completely understood and I completely felt where you were coming from. But when you sing it, I don't. You're singing this song, I don't believe you. And for lack of better words, when you sing it, I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to have that effect when it comes to playing, nor should you. When you are saying or you're speaking whatever it is that's, should be coming out of you in that moment, make sure it's believable. Put your whole self into it, because outside of that, you're just reciting something. You're just reciting a poem. You're just repeating what you've heard, and you don't want to do that. So anyway, I didn't want to belabor, the time with that. Make sure you put all that you have into everything that you do. For me, there's a verse that comes to mind. I think it's Colossians 3:23, when it talks about, in all that you do. I'm paraphrasing that as well. But basically, give everything that you have to God. Act as if everything that you're doing it for the glory of God, and basically put everything that you have into it. And that makes all the difference in the world, because when you do that, it's easier to not take things for granted. When you're trying to do it as if you're doing it for an audience of one, it's easier to not take it for granted, or it's easier to not lose the point or not lose the focus of why you're doing what you're doing. Now, granted, it's going to be some times that you're just gonna be having fun, or you're just gonna just be playing the music just to get the gig done. That's not to say there's not gonna be times that you just gonna play whatever. Like if you read music, you're gonna play what's on the paper. You're gonna get your check and you're gonna go home. But even in those instances, you should still be putting your all into everything that you're doing, because it does matter at the end of the day. And when the listener hears this music, or what you're doing or what you're trying to say, it translates a different way to that person. Like I remember even watching films, like good actors. You got people like your Denzels, and I won't name too many other names because it's it's too weird right now with the acting academy right now. So, but some known actors that are very good at what they do. They know how to sell you on that part, on that role, because I think they put their whole self in. And I don't know anything about acting, but I would imagine that you're pulling from some of your own life experiences in order to get into this character. Because if this is completely foreign to you and you don't know anything about this, it's hard to put your heart into it. It's hard to really embrace what this is talking about. Same thing with especially my spiritual guys, Christian gospel musicians, or people who play soul music. It's hard to put your all into something that you don't have a connection with. So you got to find some, in my opinion, you have to find some point of connection to where this music or this message connects with you personally. And I think once you make a personal connection, because somebody I know might be asking, okay, I hear you saying all this stuff about put your whole self in, but how do I do that? You got to find a connection. You have to find some type of connection where you simply connect with the message or with the music that you're playing or that you're talking about. If there's no connection there, yeah, it's going to be hard to put your whole self in, because it's like oil and water. It's not mixing. If you don't agree, and that's for me personally, that's why I stopped taking certain gigs early on in my career, because I felt like I couldn't get down. Yeah, you're going to give me the check at the end of the night, but this does not feel organic to who I am. So if I'm going to have to keep compromising and feeling uncomfortable, it's going to be hard for me to give you my full energy, my full performance, if I don't agree with the message that's going forth in the music. And I think being able to consistently define what that message is for you, it helps you in being honest. And I did a video about that a while back, talking about being honest in the music. If you follow me on social media, that's J Morgan Bass 1, by the way, on Instagram, lest I forget. But if you follow me there, you might have seen me post that some time ago, or on Facebook or something like that, where I talked about being completely honest in the music. And again, if you don't agree with the message, it's going to be really, really difficult to be honest in that music. It's going to be really difficult. And that's not to say that something's wrong, or, this is a bad genre, or whatever the case may be. But if I can't agree with the message, I can't get down with it. I can't play and be fully honest. And at this point in my career, depending on where you are, you might have a different conviction. But at this point in my career, I've decided that, I'm not going to play meaningless stuff. I'm not going to do things that I don't necessarily agree with musically, because it's just not who I am. And I just refuse to be inauthentic to who I am at this point in my career. I've done it earlier, like I'm sure most musicians have, when we were just trying to get on. You were just trying to get on a gig. You were just trying to get a call. So oftentimes, musicians, we can easily become the chameleon. You know what I'm saying? We'll just blend into any environment because I need to work. And if that's what you have to do, I'm not condemning you. There's absolutely nothing wrong if that's what you have to do. But at some point in life, I'm closer to 40 than I am 30. So, at some point in life, you have to make a decision. If you're going to continue in this thing, I'm going to do this. Or just make the decision, I'm just simply doing it for the check. And if you're doing it for the check, there's no sense in complaining about the gigs that you take, because you're doing it for the money. And that's what it is. Go get your check, go play the gig, go home. But if you're doing it for a purpose and it has a little bit more value to you than just getting a check, and it's a little bit more meaningful, then you have to connect with the music. You have to connect with the message that's being given. And hopefully that message, I'll throw this out there for my young viewers that's watching. hopefully that message is something that moves you forward, not backwards. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be connecting with something just because of the age or your environment, your surroundings, your culture that you've been exposed to, and you connect on that level. Like if it's a message talking about the streets and how everything is hard and this, that, and the other, and you connect because you come from that. Okay, yeah, that's a point of connection, and you can definitely play that with conviction, and you can play that with, well, like I say, you can play it honestly, because if that's something you come from, then you fully understand that. But be aware of how that message is moving you. You're either going forward or you're going backwards in terms of as a human. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a believer, spiritually, you're either moving forwards or you're moving backwards. You know, you're either hot or you're cold. So be aware of the stuff that you're listening to, how it's moving you, how you're navigating through all of it. And that's been one of my this is totally off subject, but it might be for somebody, so I'll say it. That's been one of my things lately, is making sure, number one, I am who I say I am, and number two, always checking, and I guess this could be one and the same, always kind of checking my character, you know, allowing life and the lessons of life to move you, be moved by it, right? You know, is there a lesson? If I'm running into a problem today and it wasn't something that I necessarily signed up for, or I get some information today and it wasn't something that I necessarily wanted to hear, is there something in this that I can take away? Is there something in what just happened that I can apply to my life? I've been listening to this sermon series by Dr. Tony Evans. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with him, but I've been listening to this sermon series, and he was talking about detour, you being taken on detours. And with the detour, he mentioned like Joseph, how if any of you guys know the Bible story of Joseph, Joseph was the son who was basically sold by his brothers into slavery, to summarize this story up. And he went through multiple things in his life. He had this prophecy over his life he had this dream rather, that he was going to be somebody important. He was the younger of several brothers, and he had this dream that his brothers were going to bow to him, and he told them about it, and they weren't too happy to hear that. He even told his parents again about the dream that he had. So he saw himself in this high position. The point I'm trying to get to, he saw himself in this high position somewhere in his life. He didn't know when, but he saw himself in this high position, and he saw members of his family bowing down to him. Right. And so because of what he said, it got him in a lot of trouble. And all he was doing is simply just telling what he saw. He shared this vision with his family. And of course, they became jealous. He was like one of the favorite sons or whatever of his father. His brothers became jealous of him, sold him into slavery. He went through several different things that the average person would have been like, you know what? Bump all this. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need this. But end of the story, it comes that Joseph is like basically second in command in Egypt, right? And so being second in command, he was able to kind of make some calls while the whole nation was in a famine and a drought for 7 years, and he was able to save his family. And through all of that, it's like he went through these detours to get him to where he needed to be. Had he not gone through those detours, number one, he wouldn't have got to the place that he got to, that he was able to help his family and so many others. But number two, he wouldn't have been prepared for who he was to become. The detours were necessary to make him into who he was becoming. So again, the point of this story, and of course, this is a very condensed version, and I skipped a lot of details. But the point of the story I'm trying to share with you guys is oftentimes what you need sometimes come through going through some stuff that you don't want, even in your playing. Being expressive. When you learn to deal with certain things, you learn to go through certain situations, it helps you to articulate both musically. Of course, a lot of it comes through practicing and all that. We're not taking this is not even about practice. We know that. That's the mechanics of it all. But there are certain things I think that your favorite singers, your favorite musicians are able to express because they learn how to be touched by life, be touched by the problems of life and allow that to affect how they deliver what they do. And by doing that, you're putting your whole self into it. You allow the detour, you allow the thing that took you, what felt like it took you completely off track. You know what I'm saying? Something that took you way away from what you were initially trying to do. I'm learning this day in and day out that this, I've heard it for years, but until you walk it for yourself, it hits a little different. You know, there is no straight line to success. There is no straight line in your journey. If it is a straight line, you probably want to check and make sure you're not going the wrong way, because I'm finding there's little nuggets, you know, in every little detail of the things that we go through. A lot of the stuff is going to be things we don't like. I'm going to just tell you straight out. There's going to be a lot of stuff that you don't like, but in hindsight, you know, they say hindsight is 20/20. You're able to go back and look at this situation and say, you know what? I'm thankful for that because it reminded me to focus on this instead of looking at that. I'm reminded of, I'll just tell you guys, I shared this on Facebook live, but I didn't share it here. So my brother has a trucking company. I don't know if he's watching this morning, but my brother owns a trucking company. And I told you guys, and if you read the book, I'm looking for my book. I don't think I got it. It's on my shelf over there. But anyway, if you read my book, 10 Ways to Success, you remember me talking about the fact that, you know, everybody in my family, for the most part, was truck drivers, you know. So I naturally developed the skill of driving the truck and made my license and everything at the age of 19. You know, over 20 years ago, I made my license to drive, and I drove for a little while, drove all through college, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, my brother owns a company. So for a little while this year, a little bit of last year and this year, I've been driving with my brother's company. Just another stream of income that I've taken. And one of the things that I've learned from this experience is another level of humility. It's a complete, and shout out to all my truck driver fam out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're driving a truck, shout out to y'all. I say that because it's just, when you're a full-time musician, you can be so removed from the world. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but for the last almost 15 years, I've been exclusively a musician. And I don't say that like I grew up with some silver spoon in my mouth, because I didn't. You know, my family, we grew up hard work. I had a job, my own car washing business by the age of 16. Then I went to Piggly Wiggly. You know, I did my thing there. I worked in a furniture factory doing shipping. I did some of everything, worked construction. So I know how to get my hands dirty. So, but in all of that, again, I've had a full career in music where I only done music. And doing that, sometimes you can be removed from what other people go through in their life. Normal, and I don't say this insult like in an insulting way when I say normal. I'm saying in comparison to being a musician, so I don't want to offend anybody by saying normal. But like regular jobs, you don't understand what people deal with. The thing with being a musician, we can come into money, especially when you, I guess, get at a certain level as a musician. You can make money really easy. You know what I'm saying? You can, what it takes you a few days to do, you can do in a few hours as a musician. Like, I can literally come out here to the studio in my pajamas if I want to. And depending on what I'm doing, I could make a couple of $1,000s like it ain't nothing in a couple of days, versus doing some other manual job where it takes me a little longer to do that. So the humility of it all, it has taught me in a sense to appreciate even more. I already appreciated it, but not to the degree I think I do now. What I do and the gifting that I've been given, the opportunity that I've been given, and I've been allowing this to touch me. You know, I've been allowing this opportunity to affect me, to see just regular people doing what they do, to see how people are treated. You know what I'm saying? Just to see, you know, it's amazing how we treat people. It's funny when people know I'm a musician, and I run into random people in musical scenarios, or maybe I go to a hotel or somebody, and somebody recognize me, and they're coming up, want to take pictures and all this. In the trucking world, nobody have a clue who I am, you know? So it's like I'm walking around, I could be everywhere. Nobody knows me because I'm not famous. So I'm walking around in these places, and it's like nobody knows who you are. Ain't nobody try to come up and take no picture with you. It's like, man, here, get out of the way so I can do what I got to do. That's the thing. I think that's so cool because I feel like all musicians, especially if you've had some success, you need to find something to be served some humble pie every now and again. Not to say you're arrogant, any of that stuff, but you need to be reminded this is a privilege that you get to do this. You know what I'm saying? And I think COVID served everybody some humble pie. If you was a musician, COVID was like passing plates out, passing sauces. Here, take this, eat you some of this right here, right? Because what was so easy to you was no longer easy. And musicians had to start thinking outside of the box. No longer are you walking. Like I've been in, touring type situations where you got cats that's coming down for lobby call. Lobby calls is at 5:30 a.m. They show up at 5:45, 6 o'clock. What? You making money this easy and you can't get up to be on time for a lobby call? Or you got to get on a bus where somebody has paid for a plane ticket for you to get somewhere, and it matters that you get to the airport at a certain time, but you don't have enough. And I'm on a rant right now, so forgive me. But it needs to be said, right? Somebody got to say it. But you don't have enough discipline to show up. Let's get this straight. You're a church musician. You don't need much money because, maybe it's just you. And you only have to be there for Sunday or Wednesday and maybe a midweek rehearsal or something like that. And you can't show up on time 3 days out of the week. You can't be there on time. You need some humble pie because you forgot how easy this is for you to get. And the fact that it is not, well, let me say it this way. You haven't forgot how easy it is to get. That's the problem. You realize how easy this is, but it takes something like COVID to show you how easy it can be taken away. So if you're not being smart about it and you're showing up late and you're doing all these things, you're not putting your whole self into it, because putting your whole self into all that you do, it don't just start when you get on the stage. So all of this stuff that I'm saying, I'm on a rant, but it's all tying into everything that I'm talking about. So don't worry. We're gonna bring it all together. We're gonna stir this thing up, right? So putting your whole self into it starts when you're sitting at home and you're learning that music. You're you're preparing yourself for whatever the situation that you have to do because you take it seriously. And I get it. I've been a musician. I've been playing at church since I was like 12, 13 years old. So I get it. I know the stories. I know musicians can be underappreciated, but that's not an excuse. One of the things I've been learning and I've been trying to teach my kids, you're responsible for what you do and how you treat people. You're not responsible for how they respond or how they react. I'll let that marinate for a second. You're responsible for what you do, how you treat people. You're not responsible for how they react or how they respond to it. That's not your responsibility. It's your responsibility to do what you're supposed to do. If you're at a church that takes advantage of you, you're responsible for what you do about that. You're responsible for how you show up on time. So when the meeting is called or when something happens and something goes forward, you got to take responsibility for it. I was hit with a situation recently where I had a tough conversation about some things that I wasn't aware that I might have been doing. But once it was brought to my attention, now it's my responsibility to do something about it or to take responsibility for it. If in fact it's something that's on me, not to, feel some type of way about it. And here's the thing, you're human. You can feel some type of way about it, but that didn't change the fact. So once it's brought to your attention, now do something about it. And what I'm hoping to do, depending on who you are watching this today and where you are in your career, I'm hoping to make you rethink the energy that you've been given. Rethink what you have put into what you've been doing. And give yourself the question, am I giving all that I can be given right now? Is there more that I have to offer that I'm not giving? Number three question rather. Is it fair to the people I'm giving it to? Or is it fair to me? I was listening to this podcast the other day. I don't know if you guys listen to Eric Thomas, but I was listening to this podcast. I thought it was really dope the other day, and they were talking about, you know, doing all these good things and feeling like because we're doing all these good things that at some point somebody's gonna come along and save you. Nah, nobody is gonna give you a reward here most of the time in real life. You're not gonna get a reward for just doing what you're supposed to do. Now, I will say hard work and strategic work pays off. There's a lot of people who work hard and they die with nothing. So I don't want the two to be confused. You can work really, really hard and you don't see any benefit of your work. I got, family that work really hard and they just work themselves sick. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't put in work. But I think being strategic about the work that you do when you work hard, thinking ahead, thinking 5, thinking 10 years ahead. How is this going to put me in a position that I'm going to be better off in 5, 10 years or a year or 2 years from now? Being strategic with what you're doing. And if the hard work that you're doing, you're not being strategic and thinking how it can move you forward, it just you hoping something falls out the sky, it really doesn't work like that. It doesn't. I hate to be the one to tell you, especially as a musician, I hate to be the one to tell you. You could show up, like the hindsight, or not hindsight, but on the flip side of everything that I'm saying, you could do all of the things. You could show up on time. You could be the guy who learns all of the music, have a good attitude, but there might be some other things that you're missing that you're not being proactive with. You're just doing the reasonable, thing that you have to do to keep the gig. But you don't have I don't want to say the wow factor, but you are not accessing your unique, what's your, what they call it in business, your USP, your unique selling point. What's the thing about you that stands out? And I think it comes all the way back to putting your whole self into the music, putting your fingerprint on what you do. It makes all the difference in the world. There's a lot of people who do bass lessons. There's a lot of people now who do what I do as it pertains to bass lesson. But none of these people have my fingerprint. I don't care who they are. I don't care how big they are. I don't care how many followers they have. They are not me. And they don't have my fingerprint. And that's the thing I think that gives me the edge. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else. I don't think I'm farther along than anybody else, but there is something that I'm doing that I know that's making an impact, and I know it's only my fingerprint on it, right? And I'm the only one that can offer this particular thing. And when I realize I'm the only one that can offer this particular thing, I operate differently in it. I put it forth in a different way than everybody else. It's not a copycat thing, because I can't copy. Well, I can repeat it, but I'm not copying myself. I'm just being original. I'm being original to who I am and what I have to do when I put my whole self into all that I am, or all that I'm doing, all that I'm playing. It takes you out of the competition, or at least outside competition, looking out, comparing yourself to everybody else and seeing what somebody else got going on versus what you got going on. It's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. And I give you case in point for me, and I'll wrap this up. Last year, I had about 12,000 going on 13,000 followers on Instagram, and my page got hacked and stolen, and I lost all of it. And I decided to rebuild my page over again. I had to start a brand new page. And so there, I've been getting hit up by tons of people. Hey, do this, do that to grow your page and to buy followers, something like buying followers and all this kind of stuff. And, I understand where that's coming from in a sense, where you want to build up your following for influence sake, because I did have some influence with companies and that type of thing because of the following that I had. So I see the benefit in, that. But the point of it, the point of all of it is, I'm like, I'd rather be organic and be true to who I am. And the people who follow me, I want them to be there because they want to be there. And I get it. Not everybody sees your post and all that type of stuff. But, I want people who follow me, you to be following me for the right reason. I don't want to go beg anybody to follow me because, number one, I don't be held responsible for all of y'all. just I'm just being honest. I'll let you know here on my own platform. Hey, go follow me on Instagram. There's nothing wrong with that. That's still organic to me. But as far as me trying to pay for following and all this kind of stuff, I'd rather be me. And if you like who I am, if you like what I do, then you follow. If you don't, it's cool. I'm not going to cry about it because truth be told, about 10,000 of those people weren't regularly engaged with me. Only about, 2,500 would probably regularly engage with me. And so if I'm important enough to those people, they'll follow me back. And then when they find out I got a new page, if not, we're not going to cry about it, that kind of thing. So and at the end of the day, I still want to be completely authentic to who I am. And being that comes with being able to identify with whatever it is I'm doing, have some connection point, as well as playing the music. I want to make sure that I'm playing music that I agree with personally. I don't know what it is for you or what your conviction is for you, but I think if we're talking playing, whatever it is that you're putting your hands to do, and if you're not a musician, if you're going to do that thing, make sure it's something that you can identify with, something that you can completely connect with, that makes sense to you, that you can agree with, whether it be spiritually, otherwise. Make sure it's something that you can agree with, because outside of that, you're just going to be copying and pasting, just being completely honest about it. But anyway, that's all I have on that subject. I know I've kind of said a lot of things, but hopefully I've said something to you all that made you think today, that made you really consider, what? Am I really being 100% authentic to who I am? Am I completely putting my whole self in? What it said, doing hokey pokey. Put your whole self in, take your whole self out. You know what I'm saying? Put your whole self in and leave your whole self in what you're trying to do. Put your whole self into it and see what comes out of it when you do just that. All right. All right, so let's see a few of these comments that I missed before I jump off of here. And I do, again, I really appreciate you guys for rocking with me this morning, hanging around and listening to my few words. I hope and pray that they've been something inspirational, motivational to you, and something definitely not to waste your time. It's too early in the morning to be wasting time. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. Marcus says, I agree with that totally. I appreciate you, man, for grabbing the book, Marcus. I really appreciate you. Tiffany says, this is the second message in a few days I'm hearing about detours. Yeah, I mean, I'm only mentioning it because I've watched a couple of these sermon series, again, by Dr. Tony Evans. So you can look that up here on YouTube about the detours if you want to check out those messages. I guarantee it'll be worth your time. It's about three of them in total. Only about 30 minutes a piece. All right. So Charles, man, thank you so much. I like your style of playing. B.E. Wool. And what's true about this is that it's not just limited to playing music or being a musician. It's a life thing. Always, B.E. It's always, for me, it's all a life thing. Music to me mirrors my life. So I have to make it connect. So it's all a life thing. So if you're just listening to these things and only applying it to music, the things that I say here, you're missing half of the story. So be sure to spread this out more on more than just music. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to check out because my throat is doing the deal. All right. Peace.